Well, welcome everyone to this week's installment of Ask Rabbi Fox. I am delighted this week to have a question and wonder together with David and Susan Phillips. David and Susan, thank you so much for joining us for this week, for bringing in a question. I'm looking forward to wondering together. What question do you have this week? What can we kind of wonder about even together?
Well, good morning. It's a great opportunity. We
Yeah, we're
appreciate it.
we're really, really happy to be interchanging with you like this.
It's always a pleasure. It's really a pleasure to get to. We often have the opportunity to connect kind of during Torah study, and of course the hope is that the conversation around Torah study is a catalyst for delving into deep conversation. It's also a pleasure always to have an opportunity to connect directly with one another. I guess it would be three together, not one on one. Yeah.
So, um, we understand you. I think you've been here 7 months now, just barely over. That's not very long, and it's been under very unusual circumstances with the pandemic. So you haven't had the opportunity to embrace us as a congregation as a whole. It's been kind of fractured, I guess. But we would like to know um, if between staff and congregants, videos, and other material, if you've been able to ascertain what Temple Israel of Long Beach Minhag is.
So I
And
think
there's a three-part question.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's start with the first
Right.
because I don't want to forget. Um, so there are definitely things that I think I'm not picking up. Traditions of what is that moment before services when everybody schmoozes? Is everyone schmooze in the sanctuary? Is everyone kind of at the doorway? Is everyone in the entryway? What are those kind of pieces of minhag or custom that I think are really important part of Temple Israel that I'm not picking up, and also those conversations. The 5 minutes before a meeting, the kind of we didn't plan on meeting, but we happen to be there at the same time, and we're kind of connecting, and I'm hearing about whatever it might be, or I get to kind of have a wonderful conversation. Those pieces I'm missing. That said, it's reminding me a little bit. I'll share that uh, Dory and I actually we were in a long distance relationship for a very long time. We met at a program actually just north of here at the Brandeis Bardian Institute at Brandeis Collegiate Institute, which I have many dear and strong memories there, going up there for weekends and going to Camp Alanim, and my family, many members of my family went to BCI. I was very excited to be able to go, and so we met on that program. Um, I'll spare you the details of that. We were not a couple until much later, but we were deeply connected, and we remained in touch. And it was essentially a long distance relationship because I was in California and Dory was in North Carolina, and there was actually, I think, something that was almost added to being able to connect in that way. That we made a real concerted effort to have lots of conversations. And I'm going to shift over to Temple Israel, and that I feel like I've been able to be very intentional about being able to, excuse me, sit and have meaningful, deep conversations one-on-one with members of the community, knowing that I'm missing those kind of in-between conversations. So I cannot wait until we are back together again and able to be in the same physical space. I think there's a lot that comes from being in the same space that you just can't get otherwise. But I think that there's also something to be said for that kind of long distance connection, and having the opportunity to have a lot of conversation and a very kind of focused or concerted way to connect with one another. And so I will say that with the important caveat that I think that there are lots of things that I'm missing and that I really look forward to learning, that I do feel like I've had the opportunity to start meeting the congregation. I don't think that I've connected or met with nearly as many people as if we were all together, but I do feel like I've started to get to know people a little bit. I've had the opportunity to have some conversations, and I look forward to many more.
Great. So, the second part was, if you haven't been able to get a good handle on our minhag, Is there anything that we as congregants could do to help you with that?
Ah,
That we're not doing.
that we're not doing, or that members of the community are not doing. Um, yes, I mean it's a little hard because some of the pieces of Minhag we can't do because we're doing everything via Zoom.
Like
Um, like what?
hugging.
Hugging, yes, I know, I know. There is, I'm not going to out this person, but I love seeing every Friday night at the end of services, this person will write, right now, my arms are around so and so and so and so. They'll put it in the chat.
Oh,
And it's such a beautiful moment. Yes, I cannot wait for those hugs. I'm definitely a hugger. Um, so yeah, so things like that. I mean, there's things that I don't know, and what would be helpful, yes, is to hear what those things are. Please, by all means, share them with me now. It may be also advantageous when we're back together again, that I might not know, that I don't know that we that we end a service with hugs or whatever it might be, and those things are really helpful. So to come up and say, Rabbi, I know this you've we're just meeting back together again, and you haven't had really any services in person with the congregation. This is something that we do that's very meaningful. It's really helpful to me to hear that.
so
Um,
I guess that one of the things that I felt that I was missing a lot, and I think it's a custom that was started by Rabbi Wally Kelter, and
Sure.
that is we always have a closing song, usually fairly upbeat. I mean, even if it was the the last part of the Kaddish that we would sing, he would want it to go fast. He didn't want it to be and he would really criticize. That sounds like a dirge.
He's like, pick it up.
Yeah.
Let's sing.
And the thing is that we would all put our arms around each other. And so if there was somebody sitting over by themselves on the one side, then we'd bring them over to us, or we'd go over to them, so that nobody was left alone during that closing song. And it was just a very lovely, touching way to end services.
And
I
when
oh
we get
please.
back together, it will just re-arise on its own. All right. But
Uh,
if not, slap somebody.
okay, I am really looking forward to that, and I also love hearing all of the beautiful traditions that all of the clergy at Temple Israel have brought into this community. Among them, of course, Rabbi Kelter. I love hearing the stories and again the really powerful, beautiful traditions that he's brought. So thank you for sharing that with me. I know that you mentioned that there was a third part to the question. I don't know if we had gotten to it.
No. So
Okay.
regardless of the first two, um, what are the meaningful parts of your rabbinate, your experience, your interests would you like to introduce to Temple Israel, either now or in the future when we are physically together?
Oh my gosh. So with the very important caveat again that I believe very very strongly in partnership and in working together. Um, so whenever I bring something new to a community, I always make it's critical to me that it's in partnership, that somebody that I had a conversation with someone, or somebody brought to me this idea of, hey, I really want to do such and such, and then we build it together, that it's not just kind of me throwing something into the mix, but that it's us building it together. um, that said, the things that really move me in terms of the things that I love in my rabbinate, um, I love to teach. I love teaching of all different types, whether that's kind of having the opportunity to share something interesting from the Bima, or share a story. I love storytelling, and literature is a particular passion of mine, both Jewish and non. Um, and um, I love life cycle events. Those are things that just deeply, deeply move me. And then, of course, innovation. So I'm actually not going to give it away because I know that there is another. I don't usually know the questions, but I happen to know the question for another Ask Rabbi Fox that's coming up. So and it's all about innovation. So I'm going to hold off on sharing some of the specific ideas. But I have some ideas that I would love to share. But again, the most important part for me is what does it mean for us to build these things together? And they might be something as simple as or straightforward as taking an initiative or a program that we do already and shifting it a little bit. For example, I've hoped to bring more Hebruta study or learning in pairs to our classes, and I'm delighted. It really means a lot to me that it means so much to you.
I
So,
would suggest that.
sorry.
I would like to suggest that.
Hey, all right, all right. So so bringing things into gatherings and programs and opportunities for learning that we have already, and then of course new initiatives as well. Um,
I know that
Susan and David, oh please.
we discussed at Torah study one day about how we never get enough time to dwell on one particular part of the Torah, and that maybe we could do it in a different manner rather than going along with whatever the Torah portion is that week.
So I love that idea, and so maybe that's something coming down the pike. I know I understand that the Tanakh study group also has kind of taken some of that tack in wanting to kind of go through different pieces. But I will say this also, that in the last community that I was in Indianapolis, there is a group that meets every morning, and they decided years and years ago to start studying the Torah from the beginning through to the end, with the plan of it taking a year or two. And I'm going to get the number wrong, but it took something like 20 or 30 years. They went through the entire Bible, but the whole thing, they went just section by section. So these are all options. I love that idea. It's you're asking a rabbi if we can spend more time studying together. I love that. So these are all things, and perhaps Susan and David, perhaps this will be a partnership that we can build together. Or for anyone who is listening to this installment, this program, please join us. Let us know. We can build some of these things together. I am delighted, Susan, David. It is always such a pleasure to get time with the two of you to think and dream and wonder together, whether it be as something as specific as the word Bereshit in our Torah, or something as broad as thinking big picture about our community and what's meaningful for it. Thank you, everyone. If you are listening and you would like to contribute, you'd like to ask a question as a part of this program, please be in touch with me or the members of the transition team, and let us know. We'll have more of these to come. Susan and David, thank you so much. Wishing everyone a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you.